What is going on, guys? Matt O'Leary here with another video, and I will be breaking down the 2023 schedule and be giving you my record prediction for the 2023 season. Now, this is going to be a little bit different. I have a special guest coming on the show. Now, why do I have a special guest, and who is he? Well, his name is Corey, and the reason why he is coming on is because this guy yesterday sent me a DM early in the morning. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I was at the gym, and he goes, "Hey, I saw you just put out a tweet about the games we know so far. I know the full schedule." And he sent it over to me. And now, usually, like, people have sent me stuff in the past, and it's like, okay, yeah, you know a guy who knows someone's cousins, brothers, uncles, aunts, cousin, and you're like, okay. But I was like, okay, yeah. And then he said, "I'm so confident that I am right. If I'm right, have me on the show." And I said, okay, bet. Yes, that is a fair wager. And I'm a man of my word. And this guy was spot on. He had it 100% right. So shout out to Corey for giving your boy the hookup a few hours in advance. I knew the Jets schedule. So we had Corey join us and go through and preview this Jets season. Let's hop into it. All right, here he is. I'd like to welcome Corey on the program. Corey, how's it going, my man?
I'm good, man. How are you doing today?
Doing very good. So I gave the audience a little background. I got the message from you yesterday with the schedule, and we made a little bet. We said if you were right, you were confident. You said if I'm right, and I know I am. You know, you got to get me on the show. So I'm a man of my word. Here we go. How many? I got to know how many people do you send that to? I want to believe that I was one of one, but I don't know if that's the case.
So no, you were the only one, to be honest. So like obviously my friend group knew I have season tickets. So me, my father, my three cousins, we have a group chat going. Sent it to them as well. But you know what's funny? When I think I saw you tweet around I guess 10:30 and less yesterday morning, and was like, "Here's what we know so far." I think it was like the 4 games, like the Bills. I think it was the Black Friday game, and I forgot the other 2 games. And then I was like, you know what? Let me message him. And I was like, here's the rest. And I know it's skeptical. I know you were skeptical in the beginning of how I knew. But I know a guy who knows a guy, who I actually knew about the Bills game. So today's Friday, right? Thursday, the schedule came out. Wednesday night, I knew about the Bills game, I think before they announced it, because they announced it Thursday morning. And then my buddy, who I got the information from, sent me the rest of the schedule Thursday morning, and that's when I saw your tweet and sent it to you. I think you do a great job with the coverage. I've seen you a bunch of times at the parking lot of MetLife. So I was like, you know what? Let me hit up Matt. It's a good dude, like his podcast. So I sent you the schedule.
I love it. Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to keep it close to the vest over here. Keep this relationship open.
There you go.
It's sure. I was telling you before we got recorded, like I get so many people like, "Oh, I know that," and they send it to me. So first I'm like, I don't know. I sent the screenshot over to Ryan and Green Bean, and I was like, this kid's telling me that he knows the schedule. I'm like, we'll see. And each game that came out, it was bang right on. So I had a big smile on my face all day. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have this guy on the show, but it's gonna be well worth it. So let's hop into it. We'll pull it up. We'll go game by game, and we'll just get some thoughts on it. So obviously, everyone knows we're opening up against the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. What's your takeaway for this game?
Yeah, I think just overall, right? I think before we get into it, I think obviously the first 6 are tough, right? It's going to be tough. 2 of those teams were in the Super Bowl last year. The Bills went deep into the playoffs. Cowboys were a good team. Patriots, the Patriots are the Patriots, and the Broncos, I think, are going to be, a different team with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. So I think it's a tough first 6, but after that, it starts to soften up. I think if you look at the first 2 games, Bills and Dallas, I think they split. I think no matter how you slice it, I think it's very feasible that the Jets come in Monday night. The crowd's going to be electric. I think yesterday I think it was Kaz or someone tweeted like they sold more tickets to this first game than like the last 5 years combined or something like that. So I think it's going to be electric in terms of the atmosphere. And the Jets are going to come in humming. I think the issue is it's the first game, right? Rodgers is going to come in. He's not going to play preseason, right? So essentially this is the first time with live bullets with this team. I think it's going to be tough for them to come out against the Bills, who are a seasoned veteran team. I know we beat them last year with Zach, and Rodgers is obviously a different quarterback. I think it's going to be really tough to beat them though on opening night. So I'm going to say a loss against the Bills at home, but I think they come back week 2 against Dallas and beat Dallas.
Okay. Totally fair. As you said, Buffalo they are going to be the favorite in the division, and it would be the Jets kind of dethroning them, or if Miami dethrones them, it'd be kind of an upset to many. So I totally get it. The Bills are, quality team. I'm gonna have the Jets. A spoiler: I'll have the Jets split with the Bills, win the home game on Monday Night Football. I think the crowd's going to be absolutely electric. I think it'll be a great back and forth game. I think the Jets win at home against the Bills, but I also think that they can go on the road and beat Dallas. I know Dallas is a good team. Obviously, they just for whatever reason they feel like they just can't get over the hump.
Yeah.
But I think they match up pretty well against the Cowboys, and even traveling on the road, I think they could get the run game going. Whether Brees is 100% at that point or not is still up in the air. But I like the Jets to get off to a fast start, so I'll say 2-0 to start the season, coming back home against New England. Now, obviously, Jets haven't beat New England the last 14 times they've played them. Does the streak end this year?
It does. It does. I thought it was actually funny. I went to the second game in New England last year because at that point they were on a roll. Zach was coming back, right? I think was that before Mike White or after Mike White? That second Patriot game.
That was before. That was before
Mike White. Yeah, so I think they were on a roll at that point, and I thought me and my cousins were like, should we go to New England? I think it ends finally. So we went. Obviously, brutal loss, 3-3, and then they, Brady Man punts the ball. Guy runs it back for a touchdown. It was a disaster leaving that stadium. I think this year, though, they do it, especially at home. After the first two games, Rodgers is going to, be more comfortable in the offense. I mean, he knows the offense, but more comfortable with his receivers, his offensive line, all that. I think the Patriots are still the Patriots. Like, they're still going to play a tough game. They're not going to roll over and die. You're not going to blow them out. I think they beat them, though. I just think we have too much firepower on offense. The Patriots are lacking on offense. They're going to have a good defense, and Belichick will have a plan. I don't see how they can lose at home against the Patriots this year.
Yeah, 100%. I think New England is, way too well coached to just completely roll over and die. But I do think, like, talent-wise, the Jets definitely have more talent. I think if they had even just average quarterback play, okay quarterback play last year, they probably beat them twice.
Yep.
And with adding Aaron Rodgers in the mix, I think they get this one done at home. It should be an electric atmosphere. Obviously with, the New England games are always big ones at MetLife, but with Rodgers and all this anticipation, it kind of gives me, the early, 2009? They played them in week 2. And that Rex called the season ticket holders and got all hyped up. So
I was there. Yeah, that was, I don't know if you were there, but that was the loudest game. That was the old Giant Stadium. The loudest game I've ever been to in my life. Nothing has ever come close to that game. I remember, like you said, Rex called the season ticket holders. It was electric. And I guess the last time they beat them was 2010, right? Or 2010 they beat them, I think.
Yeah, and then 2015, the week.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. So yeah, it's been 8 years, which is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. So I have the Jets starting off 3-0 here, but a tough matchup in week 4 against Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. What's your takeaway for this?
Yeah. Again, I think if this game was later on in the season and the Jets, were rolling, and depending on, who's banged up, who's not banged up, and especially we're home, so it helps. I think right now the spread, though, I think I was looking at DraftKings yesterday. I think they're only like -1 or +1 or +2, which is interesting. But I think Mahomes, is too much right now for them. I think, again, too early on in the season. I think if this game was later on in the year and they were gelling, I could see them doing the upset. I just think against Kansas City and those guys, it's going to be really tough to beat them. So I'm going to go loss there.
Yeah, I'm going to go loss here too. It's not that the Jets, can't win this game. When you have Aaron Rodgers in this defense, they should be in all these games. There's no reason they can't be, but just defending champs, you got to give them their flowers. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, just an absolutely deadly duo on the offensive side of the ball. I think it'd be a close game, and it's awesome they're back on Sunday Night Football, but you got to mix some losses in here somewhere, and this is where I have the first one coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Week 5 in Denver, you were kind of saying it, that this Denver team should be better this year, and it's never easy going out on the road and playing there. What do you think for this one?
Yeah, I agreed. I think they're going to be a better team. Definitely, it's funny because I want to say they're better coach, but we have their head coach as our offensive coordinator now. But Sean Payton's a great coach, right? He did great things in New Orleans with Drew Brees. I think last year was kind of an anomaly for Russell Wilson. I don't know if it was just going to a new team, a new coach. Like you said, playing a mile high is different. The altitude there, it gets to you. So I think they're going to be a better team, and they still have a pretty good defense too. Pat Surtain's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. They have a good defense, but I do think the Jets go in there and beat them. I think Rodgers, again, veteran guy, has been there before. I think the Jets go in and beat Denver.
All right. Yeah, I think they do as well, but it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people are anticipating.
Yep.
I think people think, oh, they were so bad last year, and yeah, they beat them on the road with Zach, and Zach didn't really play that well, and they lost Brees and AVT in that game, and they still beat him. But I think this is going to be a close kind of back and forth game. I think I'm remembering this correctly. In 2010, they went there, and obviously they were a good team in 2010, but like they squeaked by. It was like a late field goal, I think, that won the game. I think it'll be a tight, back and forth kind of game, but the Jets on paper are still the better team, but I think they win a tight one.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Denver being home is key too. Like it is hard to play there. I don't think we've had great success there. I know, like you said, we beat them last year. I think the year before that we played them and Drew Lock beat us, right? Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Right. And then the Tebow game, that was a disaster, however many years ago that was. So it's tough to play there. But again, like you said, I think with Rodgers, this is a different team. I think we go in and beat them.
Absolutely. Week 6 back home against the Eagles. Jets have never beaten the Eagles in their history. Does that change?
Yeah. And I don't believe in, I don't know if omens is the right word or superstition. I don't think they win this game. Again, it's just because Eagles are a great team. They're coming off a Super Bowl appearance. They got a great defense. Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. They got weapons. Again, I think similar to Kansas City, it's going to be a tough game. Again, very close, like you said. I think every game on this schedule doesn't matter. It's going to be a close game. I don't think you're going to see a blowout, for the Jets in any game this year. I think it'll be close. I think maybe this is a field goal game. I think back and forth, maybe a defensive turnover at the end of the game may change it. I think they lose to the Eagles. So I have them at 3-3 going into the bye.
There you go. I also have them losing this game. So 4-2 at the bye for me, 3-3 for Corey. It should be again, there's no reason the Jets can't hang with any of these teams, but I think you just have to, look at how good they were last year and with Jalen Hurts. I know they lost their offensive and defensive coordinators, but that is still such a really good team. And
yes.
I think that this is exactly the kind of team that could give the Jets trouble. So I'm going to say 4-2 going into the bye. 3-3. Look, I don't think that's unrealistic, a 3-3, but I don't think that's reason for panic because, as you said, it lightens up a little bit in the second half.
No, yeah, I think, like I said, I think I'm trying to again. I'd love to say they're going to go 6-0 or 5-1, right? But we have to be realistic. I think for this team, 3-3 is the absolute minimum. Mm-hmm. Anything more is going to be great. Anything less is an absolute disappointment. So, and like you said, I think after the bye week, which is I think is a solid bye week, kind of first third of the season, first half of the season, get them right, and then they got the Giants coming off that bye.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the Giants out of the bye, win or loss?
Yeah, I think it's technically a Giant home game, but there's going to be a good amount of Jets fans there. Probably 70-30, 60-40 Giant fans, depending on what the Giants look like in terms of their record. You may see some more Jets fans. I think the Jets win this game. I don't think the Giants are that great of a team. I don't think they improved that much over this year. I think they're the third best team in that division. I think they'll fight for a wild card. I think they'll be in the hunt. I don't think they're better than we are talent-wise on paper. And again, it's basically a home game for us, so you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. They're so well coached. I don't think they're going to be out of any game, but just from a talent perspective, and I don't really. I know he got the big deal, but I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones guy, and I think the defense could rattle him a little bit. So I think this is probably a little bit of a lower scoring game. Giants have made some improvements on their defense as well, and I love their defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale. But I think the Jets get the job done at home and pick up their 5th win of the year for me.
Yes. Agreed.
So then they have the Chargers Monday Night Football game in Week 9. How do you feel about this one?
So the next two is interesting, right? So 2 AFC West teams, Chargers can score. The Raiders are kind of a weird team because you got Jimmy G coming in. They have Devontae Adams. Their defense is kind of McDaniel's kind of I don't know. The players love him. The players hate him. It's weird. I think they split both games because it's like you said before. I'd love to sit here and say they can win every game, but you got to find some losses. I think they split these two. I'm going to say they win the home game. I'm going to say they win against the Chargers at home, And then going out to the West Coast, Vegas, Sunday night, I think it'll be a close game. Let's say I think they lose a close game there. So win against the Chargers, loss against the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree with you actually. I'm going to say the same thing with the win at home, but I think there's always a game or two where it's like you don't think they're going to lose this game and they end up losing it. For good teams or bad teams, there's always upset, but I feel like Vegas is a little bit of a trap game, especially with Buffalo the week after. I think they could be looking ahead a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And they still do have some they obviously still have Devontae Adams, and Jimmy G is a good enough quarterback. I don't think he's as good as what Carr is, but they should have enough. I think it's one of those games where like maybe they lose in overtime by a field goal, and then you come out of it like, damn, how'd they lose that one? But road games on the West Coast, never really an easy thing. But I agree. I think they split those two games, but I'll give them the win at home. And then the loss on the road against Vegas. But then week 11, they're on the road in Buffalo. You had them losing against Buffalo the first time.
First time, yes, exactly. So for me, I think they win this game because I think they're going to split with Buffalo. And like I said before, I think those first two games, the Bills and Dallas, can go either way. So because I had them losing to the Bills week 1 at home, I think they'll beat the Bills on the road week 11. I think this time around, at this point, the team will be gelling. Rodgers will be very comfortable with the offense and with the team. Last year, we went to Buffalo. We almost beat them with Mike White, right, who got obliterated by Milano. So I don't think it's out of the realm that we can beat them. And the Bills also, too, I feel like they do this every year where late in the season they kind of like, let their guard down and they let some people in that they shouldn't. So I think, like I said, because they lost week 1, I think they beat them in Buffalo this time.
Okay, so I agree that the Jets split with Buffalo. I just have each team winning their home game. So this is going to be the loss.
Yep.
We both had them at the same point at this point through 11 games at 6-4. But for me, with the loss against Vegas and then loss against Buffalo, first time of the year that they lose back-to-back games. So you got maybe a little bit of a panic from the media, but I think the Jets could rattle off some wins over the next.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. After this Bills game, it opens up pretty significantly. Listen, the Dolphins, Black Friday again. Everyone's going to be hyped up on turkey for the night from the day before. Most people are going to be off that day, so people are going to be tailgating. 12 o'clock in the afternoon, even early 11 o'clock. I think they win Black Friday at home. Dolphins again. I think they're a good team, well coached team. Have a good offense. Tua, who knows if he'll even be healthy at this point in the season. Right. But I think because it's a home game, I think the Jets take care of business against the Dolphins at home.
Yeah, I think similar to Buffalo, I think the Jets split with Miami. So I'll have the Jets win the home game on Black Friday. They demolished them at home last year. I don't think it'll quite be like that because with Tua or even Mike White at quarterback, they'll be a little bit more competitive than having Skylar Thompson out there.
Yeah,
but I think they are really explosive on offense, so I think they'll be able to score a little bit, a back and forth kind of game, but Jets pull away in the fourth quarter. So I have them going to 7-4 at that point. Atlanta and Houston, both home games, both teams who have young quarterbacks who aren't really expected to do all that much this year. Back-to-back wins, or do you see a trap game in any of these?
No, not after the back-to-back losses. I think they get their mind right after those two losses. Like I said, come back, beat Miami. I think they win the next two pretty easily. Falcons, like you said, Falcons are the Falcons. It's funny. My good buddy's a Falcons fan, and we talk about this all the time. They don't know how to keep a lead. It's funny because he keeps wanting them to draft defense, and they never draft defense in the first round. But yeah, I just think the Falcons don't have a great defense. I think Desmond Ritter's their quarterback right now, so a young quarterback. I think our defense outmatches theirs, and Aaron Rodgers puts on a show.
Yeah, I think. Honestly, I think these two games have like blowout potential. The Jets could blow out either of these two teams because just one, how good their defense is and how difficult it is for young quarterbacks to go up against elite level defenses. We've unfortunately seen it far too often with young quarterbacks going up against New England. It happens all the time. I'm not the biggest Desmond Ritter guy. I do like CJ Stroud a lot, and I do like some of the moves that Houston's made, but I don't think they're quite at that competitive level yet. I think they're another year or two away. But yeah, back-to-back wins for me, and pretty handedly, because I don't really love either of those two offenses right now. So
Agreed. Yeah, same thing. Texans, same thing. Texans, that, like you said, I think CJ Stroud again, like him, and it'll be later in the season. You would assume he's probably going to start week 1, so at that point he'll have a good amount of games under his belt. But again, yeah, I think that the Jets are too good of a defense, and our offense on paper at least is far superior to theirs. So I think you're right. Potential for blowouts for both games, but it's the NFL. You never know. But again, I think they still win.
yeah, so for week 15 against Miami, I had them winning the first game. I do think they split with Miami. So I'm going to say a loss on the road, which would put them, for me, that's a 9-5. What's your take here? Do you think they sweep Miami? Do you think they lose this one? What's the
Same. I think the same thing. I think they split. I think Miami, again, we can't write off Miami or the Bills, even though, listen, we have Rodgers, the talk of the town right now. Dolphins are still a good team. This is still the NFL. It's hard to win road games in the NFL, especially Miami. It's going to be hot down there. It's tough to play in that heat. And, again, whether it's Tua, whether it's Michael, whether it's someone else, I think they're going to be ready for us that game. So I say loss.
All right. Washington up next. I kind of have this same feeling about Washington as I do with Atlanta and Houston, probably starting Sam Howell. I think they're going to be pretty bad. I think this could also be a blowout potential game.
100% agree with you. Yeah, Sam Howell, like the likely starters, maybe somebody else after him. But yeah, same thing. Offense is not there. They have a decent defense, but again, we're at home. At this point, they're probably, they're going to have maybe 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins. They're looking towards the offseason. Don't think they come out. So again, yeah, similar to Houston and Falcons, could be a blowout.
All right. In week 17, they're on the road on Thursday Night Football. I want to get your take on it, but I kind of view this as a potential trap game for the Jets. I think on a short week, it's I have this one as a loss, actually, dropping them to 10-6. And I think Deshaun Watson will be much better this year, too. He really didn't look that good coming back. I think he's too talented to just completely, fall off. And I like their wide receiver core a lot. But what do you
I hear what you're saying. I think I didn't really think about that coming off since the Thursday game, short week. You're right. I think it could be a trap game. You're right. I think Deshaun Watson is going to be much more improved in that offense, without the distractions of what happened. And like you said, they got, they have Elijah Moore now. They got some decent receivers. They have Chubb, who can run the ball really well. They have a really good offensive line. I still think with Rodgers, I think they go in and beat the Browns. That's just my gut feeling today. But yeah, I think it's a win.
Okay, there you go. And then to close out the season at New England, are they getting a dub in the final week of the year?
They are. I think they get the monkey off their back fully this year, like beating them week 3 at home for the first time in however many years. And then, this is the sticking point. I think at this point in the year, for me, I have them at 11-6. So they're going to be, jostling for position for a wild card, whether it's the second wild card or the first wild card. So I think they're going to need this game for seeding purposes. I think, the first wild card is what you're really aiming for if you're not winning the division, because I don't see them taking over the Bills just yet. I think the Bills are going to win 13, maybe 14 games. So if you're winning 10, 11 games, you're looking for that wild card spot. You want to get that first wild card spot. You want to play the AFC South, which is going to be the Jaguars and the Titans. You want to avoid the Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs at all costs in that wild card round.
I agree 100%. I think the Jets win this game. So I have them at 11-6 on the season. And I think that's enough for the 5 seed. I don't think they win the division with that record. Buffalo would probably 12 wins. I don't think they're, some like 14-3 team. I think they are still, they should be viewed as the best team in the division, but I think that's enough to get them to 5, probably matching up against Jacksonville, as you mentioned, in that first round in the wild card. And if that would be the case, I would like their chances. I know Trevor Lawrence is an ascending quarterback, and they are very well coached with Doug Peterson, but I would like the Jets' chances in a wild card game against Jacksonville in the playoffs, if that's how it happened.
Agreed. Yeah, like I said, I think the Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals have ruled the roost in terms of the AFC over the last 3-4 years. And if you're not going to win a division, which again, like we talked about, I don't think that you can anoint the Jets ahead of the Bills just until the season starts. The Bills are still going to be a great team. They're a veteran team. They're very well coached. They've been together for a long time. Josh Allen is an elite quarterback. So at this point, like you said, I think 11-6, you get the first wild card, you go into Jacksonville, and then you never know. The playoffs. Who knows what happens?
Absolutely. So we both have them at 11-6. Corey, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Absolutely. So for Corey, I am Matt O'Leary. We'll talk to you next time.